How to teleport, the art of omnipresence. Today, we talk about the practical aspects of teleportation and space travel. Welcome everyone. Martina and Charles here to discuss your abilities to act from a distance. Let's start with definitions. Martina, what do we mean by teleportation?
Welcome everyone from my side as well. The word teleportation has two parts. There's a Greek prefix, tele, which means remote, and a Latin word, portare, which means to carry. And in the combination of the two words, it means to carry yourself remotely or in a distance. Now that kind of seems absurd. How can you carry yourself over a distance? The solution lies in the fact that you are not a being with a dense physical body alone. You exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. And down from our creator to the minutest particle here in the dense physical, everything exists and is composed of only three things: frequency, vibration, and energy. And in that, let me call that soup, you can go to other places with higher parts of yourself, especially the thinking part of yourself. Have this in mind. Timelines, all timelines are co-current, and all distances are local to thought. You already know that partly because you daydream yourself sometime into a world that is nicer or a holiday or whatever. Equally, with thought, you can move higher aspects of yourself any distance to other places and to other dimensions. So we're talking about an ability that is you have access now to because the 12-strand sun diamond DNA has been activated for the population of Earth. And that is quite simple. It's a gift. So you can use your teleportation skills now because this gift has been given to you. Charles, can you explain more about the gifts that everybody has received with the 12-strand sun diamond DNA?
Yes, Martina, thank you for receiving the message and publishing the information in the 12-strand sun diamond DNA book. The abilities we all now have include cosmic perception. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, and other clear abilities are some of the abilities that we're all familiar with. So most people on Earth know about this. Now everybody has the same capability. You don't need special training, you need special focus and application. First, you have to accept that you have this gift and the others will follow. You have the ability to visit your original home. When the universe, this particular universe started, all the souls that come into the universe start at a particular home constellation or home planet, even before they arrived here on Earth. With this ability now, you can go directly back to your original home and feel the most comfort. You can do that with the mind. Maybe when you're going to bed, you say, well, let me go back to my original home, and your guides will convey you there. So you have this ability to communicate telepathically. In our other podcasts, we have said that children who are coming in now are coming in with this telepathy. And there are many people also who are here who are telepathic. So begin to use telepathy as a right, just the same way you use your mind and your eyes and your thought. You can then do thought transfer without distance, without time. You can communicate with anyone. You are also have the ability now to communicate with your cosmic ancestors. Everybody has ancestors, everything has ancestors. You can query anyone, visit anyone. It's freedom that we have received from the gifts of the 12 Sun Diamonds DNA. You can ride your dragons. Dragons are not things to be feared. Dragons are wonderful beings from the 20th dimension that are very cuddly, some of them from out of this universe, who are here to support you and guide you and protect you. On Earth here, we have the queen of all dragons, Mau, who resides in Hawaii, in the islands of Hawaii, in the volcanoes. So there are other dragons. You have your personal dragons, cosmic dragons that are here to help you get around and protected wherever you are. Also, you have the ability to raise your light body. It's called the Makaba. You can raise it up to 100% by yourself without anybody. You can set the intention and then ask for your Makaba, your light body speed, to be increased. Indeed, to any dimension that you want it to be increased. We have now the ability to understand light language. Light language is the original language of creation, is the primordial language. And once you have the ability to understand light language, you can attune yourself to the intentions of the cosmic mother and the divine father. The original divine plan will become accessible to you. Also, you can read your Akashic record. For me, this is the fun part, Akashic and cosmic records. If you ever wondered why you have certain abilities, why you behave certain ways, why certain things occur repeatedly, the answers will be found within your Akashic and cosmic record. In the past, few people had these gifts that could read it, but now everyone can read their own Akashic records. Also, before we came into this earth, we all signed contracts, maybe unbeknownst to us. But everything in the universe is interacted through agreements and contracts. So we all have tons of contracts in our records. We can now look back and open our contract chamber, ego chamber, to see what contracts we have, the things that are not quite working well for us. We can ask for them to be dissolved. The way to do that we have described in the book. If you have access to the book, you'll be able to have that. But the great news for all of us on earth is that last year, the light workers tore up the old contract that bore people, burdened people, held people captives, that was deceitful, and many things that the dark forces put in our contracts that we did not agree with. All that was discarded. So, for every soul now entering the earth, there is a simple contract. And even for all of us who are here now, the contract says all you gain from your work that exceeds what is necessary for a safe, joyful, and healthy life in light and love, living your personal and planetary missions in accordance with the up-to-date divine plan during your incarnation on earth, is to be given or to be returned to the community of all and earth. Structures of any kind set up to control and exploit other beings or the planet are disallowed. So this is wonderful news. We are really free to enter the contracts we understand and destroy the contracts we do not understand, or that was entered or hidden in our contracts without us knowing. You can clear your ego chamber of your third dimension desires. We all have desires that most of the time we don't follow through, or things we wanted to do and we did not complete or were not able to do. We can go to our ego chamber, look up our contracts, and ask for those contracts that are there to be cleared. We can read and reprogram crystals as a substitute for technological storage and memory. As we advance in the 5-dimension world, everyone will have the ability to communicate with crystals. You will also have the ability to store information within the crystals and be able to retrieve it. This information you can store just like we do with computers with a password. No other person can read it except you. The means of storing and reading the crystals are described in the book. You can visit many places at once, which is not different from teleportation, but it's called bilocation. But these are for those who are already vibrating at very high frequencies. So we have a ton of gifts given to us free by the Sagittarius civilization. So Martina, I want to ask you to please talk more about some of these gifts and how people could use them.
Yeah, what Charles just explained is an awful lot. And on the other hand, excuse me, it's quite simple. Just imagine that all of these gifts are stored in your current DNA, and you can use them as you use the muscles of your body. But you know that in order to really make good use of your body, you need to train your muscles. Everyone who ever had a broken leg or arm and that was plastered, and when you take it out after 3 weeks, like your leg looks like a chicken wing, but not a leg anymore. And that's somehow similar what happens to us when we don't use the abilities. So basically, it's training these abilities like you train a muscle. Important, really believe you have these abilities. They are gifted to you. It's just you need training to fully use them. Why does that happen now? That's the most important thing. We are moving from an Earth during the shift from the 3rd to and through the 5th dimension. This has happened now at the beginning of this year. We are all here not just to learn personally, but to co-create this new Earth. And to co-create this new Earth, we need to interact with beings in multiple dimensions, and many Earth beings we have simply ignored for a very long time. Devas, nature spirit, beings from the plant and animal, from the mineral kingdom. We need to interact with them to create this new Earth together, to really co-create. That's why we are here. And that's what we need these abilities for. Now fast forward a little and think you have trained them. What does that mean? It means you no longer need any kind of technical device in order to communicate. Now we have to use the computer or cameras and social media network to communicate to a large amount of people. With, with telepathy, with teleportation, much of that becomes useless. We can use other ways. We don't need the giant data centers somebody else is controlling when we can control crystals. So there's a lot in this, and teleportation is really visiting other places, meeting other beings, learning about them, giving them a chance to truly understand us, and then to co-create together. Now, Charles, let me ask you, what more can you tell our audience about these gifts?
Yes, I'm so excited. We've always talked about 3D, 5D, 3D, 5D, that now we are really stepping and doing exactly what 5D abilities we have. So we are progressing into greater light. And what that does is dissolve a whole lot of darkness, fears, and things we didn't think possible are now all possible because we are approaching spirit. 5D is closer to spirit than 3D was. So in time travel, we can do zero time travel like all other brothers of space do and time. moving from one dimension to the other. So we humans also have the same abilities and can do the same things as we increase our frequency of light in light body. So we have to begin to let go of the belief in a linear time. The linear time is just a mind creation because the universe is all together as now. The time is what we have created so that we can learn more here on earth. So what used to take time was just our imagination, but now we can do anything instantly. So these are some of the information that we are bringing to you today. So we also need to understand that magic is created by knowing that all events and timelines are accessible to us at any moment. We can look in the past, so-called past. We can look in the future, so-called future. But really, all of it is a time stretch. We have those dimensions, and once we understand fully, we can shift from one dimension to another, which is actually going from one reality to another. So we have to understand that the universe is within us. The universe is not outside of us. And we need to understand that we have access to any part of the universe as we use these abilities going forward. So this is a shift in consciousness because it's a shift in what we have believed the world is. So teleportation is a very good example, and that's why we've chosen to talk about that specifically today. So Martina, personally now, how do you teleport?
Okay. Well, let me start where I started, and I think that is valuable for everyone who starts off now. In the beginning, I joined a group of 2 women with decades long of experience. And I was, so to speak, the apprentice, and I didn't have a bloody clue how that worked. But after a while, so we were doing energy work together that was assigned to us by a master teacher from Shambhala. And either the master teacher picked us up mentally and teleported us to the place where we were supposed to be, or we were supposed to mount a dragon, or each one a dragon, who would bring us where we are supposed to be, or sometimes we entered a dimension through a specific portal. For example, you can teleport yourself to other places if you think of them. But you cannot enter, for example, other kingdoms if you're not permitted to enter. For example, the Deva kingdom has learned some very painful lessons with the human kingdom, so they have their portals. And you are checked whether you are allowed in energetically. So after some time, I learned to see Deva portals in our third-dimensional world. For example, Aachen Cathedral is full of Deva portals. But of course, you can't just walk through. They are checking who is coming in. Once the soul connection is established, you mentioned that already, it's just easy to use the Akashic records and to go to the abode where your soul resides, your original soul. And what do I mean by that? We develop, the older a soul is, we go to different places in the universe, in different galaxies. So in each place, there is a version of our soul where we have a separate mission, and you can really follow the trail then how you developed and go back to your very original place. And that is the most heartwarming and comforting place to go. I do that a lot. But we can also use teleportation, and I use that quite a lot. You've probably heard in the podcasts of Namas University that there are healing centers. There's the Acheron Cave and Forest in Greece. There is the Sea of Crete, where you can simply teleport yourself and receive healing. And I mean, that's just fun. And I mean, I know most of our colleagues use portals.
Yeah.
Most of our colleagues use the Akashic records. And more of them now have learned to detect where portals are. And we have 8 of us who are constantly creating new portals for others to use them. So that's an awful lot of fun. Charles, how do you teleport?
Well, you've described every single one of the ways I teleport.
But give me a practical example.
Yeah,
Where do you
definitely.
love to go?
Well, definitely on the days when I'm so beaten up and I can't wait to fall to sleep, I teleport back home. I teleport to this constellation Cygnus, where my soul originated started this journey on this particular universe. And it's always comforting and refreshing and joyful when I wake up in the morning. So when I want to communicate with Shambhala and my friends, I would actually speak directly with their portals. As you see behind me, a few portals are here, all very useful for my work. The Cosmic Mother, Brother Afra, whom we will talk about next week, the Atlantis, and my most favorite one that I'm getting to know, the synergy of my portals help me focus myself on correcting what needs to be corrected as we move forward in the 5D world.
Yeah.
I've also taken the Akashic record training, and taking this training allows me to actually learn so much more about everything, so-called future things and so-called past things that are all within the Akashic record because I received the training.
Yeah.
So, but most importantly, my guides, directional elemental light beings, especially my ancestors, are my go-to companion every day, every moment, with every task. So that's how I use all these connections, Martina.
Wonderful. We can, I guess, recommend to our audience join the Namas University study group. There are people who are most likely more advanced than you in teleportation, in telepathy, in using crystals, in using the Akashic records. Form groups, learn with them. And the other recommendation is use the different means that are offered through Namas University to just move ahead, train your muscles. Charles, that was a wonderful exchange. We'll see each other next week when we
Yes.
talk about one of the main projects of Charles, Brother Afra, who is the master teacher in charge of Africa in the Shambhala Unity Council, will talk about the new Africa and what that means for the new Earth in total. And I can tell you it's amazing. See you
Yeah.
next week. Thanks
See you
very much
next week,
for listening.
everyone.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.